It is more than cliche to say in times of universal deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act and that truth is the new hate speech, especially when you don't take a political side. If you don't take a political side, basically you are the enemy of both sides. But that's what we're going to do today. We're going to take a look at Tim Walz' brand new video, this ad called The Manual with Tim Walz. And then we're going to take a look at Tim Pool's reaction to Vivek Ramaswamy and Charlie Kirk's response to this girl on a college campus. And hopefully we can accumulate some knowledge and we can put that knowledge into practice. That knowledge in practice is called wisdom. But I just want to start with, I don't understand why people don't understand why they're getting played by politicians and their campaign staff. A political campaign, think about this. A political campaign is an organized psychological operation designed to work on your mind to achieve a very specific objective. And that objective is to get you to demoralize yourself to the point where you're going to put your reputation and your name on the chopping block by supporting somebody that you know is a sociopath. You know they're a psychopathic liar. I don't care if you're talking about Kamala Harris, Tim Walz, J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, or Joe Biden, or Barack Obama. It doesn't matter. Fill in the blank for your favorite political banker psychopath. And criticism of both sides from one particular angle makes both of them fall. They are constructing a house of cards. They're constructing the house of cards on sand, not on a rock. Their foundation is faulty to begin with. And with just very little effort, you can blow both houses down. Now, to be a part of a political campaign or a political organization or supporting a political candidate, you have to engage in hypocrisy, because there's only so much criticism that you can level against your side before you are cast out. You know this, I know this. I supported Ron Paul in the 2012 election. I didn't get political until like 2012. And when I realized, hey, you know what? I think Ron Paul has taken a political position. He wants sound money. He's running on non-interventionist foreign policy. He wants to withdraw the troops and all the things that Ron Paul was for, which were very, very good. I decided, you know what? I'm going to become a delegate for Ron Paul. And I saw the workings of the RNC, the Republican National Convention, and the committee just completely squeeze Ron Paul and his followers out of the entire equation. I saw in Norman, Oklahoma, where Ron Paul beat Mitt Romney soundly. I saw it just handed over. The governor showed up. They cut the lights. They cut our mics. They put the curtain in between us and the ballroom. They forced us out into the parking lot, the Ron Paul people, and they conducted their own campaign, and they put Romney in there, even though Ron Paul soundly had Oklahoma in the bag. They gave it to him anyway. So I know that that's not an isolated case. That's not an isolated incident. This is what they do. This is who they are, and this is how they operate. And if anybody was there in Norman, Oklahoma, or in any other state, New Hampshire, Delaware, any other state, you saw exactly the same thing. The support for Ron Paul and the excitement about Ron Paul's platform, and the fact that people who were supporting Ron Paul knew what they were talking about. They had the policies down, and they could argue anybody under the table because it was just common sense, sound money, free market principles. Because they were so for Ron Paul, and it was so clear, it was ridiculous that it was more ridiculous than any campaign that I've ever seen. Ron Paul through the roof, Romney zero. The table for Ron Paul that was, the sign-in table for Ron Paul was out the door, surrounding the building, and no kidding you, the table for Mitt Romney, there were only two people standing at the table, and they were volunteers. That's how stark it was. So that got me to realizing from experience, nobody has to tell me that the RNC is corrupt or that the DNC is corrupt, and that they're gonna install their guy, because that's the banker puppet that's been selected, not elected. And now they're going to stick two people in front of you that are both supported by the Zio International Banking Cartel, no matter what. And it doesn't matter if Kamala gets in. It doesn't matter if Donald Trump gets in, because the banker policies will be furthered. Tyranny will be exacted. More money will be squeezed from the American tax cattle. More policies will be made. Freedoms will be lost. That's how it works in every single election. So the reason I wanted to go over the Tim Pool reaction to Vivek Ramaswamy and Charlie Kirk being questioned by this college girl is it's very instructive that if the college girl actually had one singular argument, there's nothing Charlie Kirk and Vivek Ramaswamy could say, or Tim Pool. But because Vivek Ramaswamy and Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool and Brandon Tatum and Candace Owens, because all, and then the Hodge twins, and you just go right down the line, because they make bank promoting one side of the left versus right paradigm line. And this goes for the other side too. This goes for the Brian Tyler Cohens, the Midas Touch Network, the CNNs of the world, because they're making so much money promoting this lie, this political lie. They will not, they have no incentive to withdraw from it. So as we go over this, the manual with Tim Walz, let's see if it's appearing on the screen here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, it's showing up. Remember, the objective in all political campaigns, and it is a campaign, it's a war launched against you, it's a war launched against your mind, so that it can bring you so low that if you put your name and your reputation on the line, not only for a bumbling fool, but also for a pathological liar. That is the goal. You are the target. You are the peasant voting class, and it's your mind that they're operating on. It's all social engineering, and they don't hide that fact. So one of the campaign strategies, and we're going to see that in this video right here, is the strategy of the propaganda of reliability. It's the plain folk technique. It's this idea where it aims at humanizing candidates and making them seem authentic, making them seem like they're human, that they're approachable, that they're authentic and empathetic and hardworking. Hey, Tim Walz is just like the rest of us. Watch, he's going to work on his power wagon. He's got his dog in the back of the car. And that people fall for this infuriates me to no end. So we're going to take a look at some of this right here.
Hey everybody, Governor Walz here. My 79 International Harvester Scout and my 5-year-old Black Lab Boxer Scout. Everything works on here, except one thing I'm still tinkering with, cruise control.
Look at it. Look, he's in a t-shirt. Notice his hands are not dirty. His nails are manicured because he's on the campaign trail. He's got to look good. And maybe he does know how to work on this power wagon. Maybe he does know how to fix the cruise control, but that's not the point. The point of this propaganda campaign is to bring Tim Walz to your level. He's just one of us. He's one of the guys. Man, this is who we want in there as the vice president. I can relate to this guy. So there goes they cast the line and they put the most attractive bait on the end of it, and they're just waiting for a fish because they want to hook you. They want to hook you with this. Do not forget that that's what this is about. And we're going to read some comments under this because people fall for it hook, line, and sinker. This is Lucy taking the football away from Charlie Brown, and we fall for it every single time.
So I'm going to show you how to fix that. At the same time, we talk about creating an opportunity economy so that everybody can get the opportunity to thrive. So come here, take a look at this. I'll show you how this thing works. It's fascinating how the cruise control works on these old vehicles.
So the campaign staff was sitting around and it's like, Tim, you know what we got to do? We got to make you relatable. We have to make you look like the common man. I mean, pretty soon you're going to be flying around in Air Force One, Air Force Two. Pretty soon you're going to be making all this money as a federal employee. Pretty soon you're going to be helping Kamala Harris make more laws which make America less free. But in order to put you into that position, we got to psychologically operate on the American people. So we got to get them to believe that you're one of them, Tim.
All right, here we go. 345 International motor, no computers, all analog. And this is the cruise control. This thing works on back.
Look at the dog. Oh, look at the dog. Look at the dog. These are shiny objects, guys. These are shiny objects twinkling under the water, but you don't see the line. You don't see the fishing line. This is all a part of the deception. Look at that. Look at that. Wonderful. Tim's a dog lover, just like me. I'm a dog lover. Tim's got a power wagon and works on his own vehicles. I work on my own vehicles. Tim is like just just a regular grandpa on Main Street. Hey, I can identify that way. I've got a grandpa on Main Street. This is great.
Pulls, and this is ingenious. This arm is just a chain that slides back and forth inside this arm. And when it's working, works within a couple miles per hour. If J.D. Vance, along with Donald Trump, get the opportunity, the folks getting the tax cuts are going to be the billionaires. They don't care about fixing the cruise control on a 79 International because they can buy whatever they want. Middle-class folks are the ones that need the tax cut.
And so can Tim, and so can Kamala, and so can Barack Obama, and so can Hillary Clinton, and so can Bill. These are all the same class. They are the political class, and they seek to make laws so the law enforcement class can keep the peasant class in line. This is warfare against your mind.
That's what a President Harris administration will do.
Got the music, got the rock and roll music. It's like, man, Tim's one of us, man. This is great. Come on, guys. Let's vote for Tim Walz and Kamala Harris. Yes. Look, he's got a rip in the seat.
Vice President Harris and I believe a lot of values, and one of the biggest value that we share together is when the middle class is strong, America's strong.
Oh, wait a second. Wait, I didn't see this first time I scrolled through this. Look at this. What are these barriers? What are these barriers they have over there on the sidewalk? Is this actually Tim's house? What are these? There's a black SUV right there. How many Secret Service agents are staying out of frame right here? He's not one of you. This is all deception. It's icing on the cake. It is not only is this a fishing line in the water waiting for you to take the bait, this is a net cast on the water, and there's a whole lot of fish out there who are actually falling for this nonsense. Unfreaking believable. It really gets under my skin that people are this gullible.
Together is when the middle class is strong, America's strong. This thing, old school carburetor. You can always tell something about somebody's maintenance when how clean their air filter is. Look, to be able to work on this.
Oh, wait a second. He said something about Trump and Vance that I missed here. Looking at those barriers behind him.
Donald Trump get the opportunity. The folks getting the tax cuts are going to be the billionaires. They don't care about fixing the cruise control on a 79 International because they can buy whatever they want. Middle class folks are the ones that need the tax cut. That's what a President Harris administration will do.
Lies, just lies.
Vice President.
Would I lie to you? Would I tell you something that wasn't true?
Harris and I believe a lot of values, and one of the biggest value that we share together is when the middle class is strong, America's strong. This thing, old school carburetor. You can always tell something about somebody's maintenance when how clean their air filter is. Look, to be able to work on this thing, you got a manual. It shows you exactly what to do to fix things on this. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance have a manual too. It's called Project 2025. And it's a way to stick it to the middle class by giving tax cuts to the wealthiest, rigging our economy to make it more difficult for people. Look, they didn't give me a manual for this if you didn't plan on using it to fix your truck. They didn't create that Project 2025 just to have it set around as a doorstop. My pro tip of the day is silicone-based things around rubber. Best thing. You get the wrong material on this stuff dry rots out. And this is like really hard to find. So make stuff last, invest in it, just like you hear this administration under President Harris. Investing in the middle class will make a strong America in the long run. Thanks.
All this is scripted. All of this. There's another black SUV. Look, let's just pay attention to the indicators here. These are highly insulated and protected folk, and they are surrounded by the very guns they want to take away from you. Never forget that either.
Thanks for watching, everybody. If you need to fix the analog cruise control on your 79 International, this is the place to come. And if you want to know what investing in the middle class in a strong America looks like, follow the Harris Walz campaign.
Who was that video with the video camera? Was that Volodymyr Zelensky? Let's see. It looked like him.
Know what investing in the middle class.
Look, isn't that Zelensky right there?
In a strong America looks like. Follow the Harris Walz campaign for more.
Now, that was lies from top to bottom. This is nothing but propaganda to make you think that Tim Walz and Kamala Harris are just a good old boy, He never meaning no harm. He's working on his international. Yeah, he's not. So let's go to this commentary on Vivek Ramaswamy and Charlie Kirk's video where Tim Pool, and I've not watched this yet. I've seen the Vivek Ramaswamy one where this girl who approaches them has zero argument, gets blistered rather quickly and efficiently by both Charlie Kirk and Vivek Ramaswamy to the applause of a lot of people on this campus who are obviously MAGA. But I've not seen this reaction by Tim Pool. Let's check it out.
Got this clip. Aero Studio Man posts from Vivek Ramaswamy, actually. And we'll just jump to, okay, so I don't know, whatever. Oh, he's tagged Vivek Ramaswamy, sorry. He says, Vivek shows a masterclass on how to win arguments with the youth while imparting knowledge. Charlie Kirk does a good job with these events. I think Charlie's fantastic. Vivek plays the good cop so well.
Charlie Kirk is a patsy for Trump. Vivek Ramaswamy can probably not crawl up Trump's derriere any farther. And Tim Pool is a promoter of MAGA. I am going to criticize all of that the same way I would criticize Team Donkey.
This young liberal woman shows up and she wants to play this game where she insults Charlie Kirk and she doesn't actually argue the points. And Vivek totally disarms her, asks her a real question. And then all of a sudden she is left.
Craig says, I can overlook the tampons in the boys' restroom when I see his international. That's what people are saying. It's like, he's got an international. Who cares if he wants to stock boys' restrooms with tampons? It doesn't matter because I don't have critical thinking. I have no way to think myself out of a wet paper bag.
Flabbergasted. I got no beef with this young woman. I respect her wanting to come up and speak, but she's wrong about what she thinks. She doesn't understand what's really going on. She decided to step.
She doesn't. Okay, now. Think about the richness. I'm going to, guys, I'm telling you, this is a live stream and I'm going to be interrupting a lot on this. Okay. So if you don't want that, this is probably not the live stream you want to listen to. This is a commentary channel, but I've got a problem with Tim saying what he just said. Listen to this again.
Come up and speak, but she's wrong about what she thinks. She doesn't understand what's really going on.
She doesn't understand what's really going on. Now, I don't know if Tim understands what's really going on or not, but I do know that Tim knows that he's making a lot of money. I know that Charlie Kirk knows that he's making a lot of money. I know Vivek Ramaswamy, you know, he's a billionaire at a very young age. Hats off to him for the way he did it, if the way he did it was above board. But even he doesn't know what's going on. And if they do know what's going on and they're going to continue on their course, then they're the worst humanity has to offer, even worse than the politicians on the other side that they criticize.
She decided to step up because she's brave. Hopefully Vivek can show her the light. But I do want to give a shout out to Vivek Ramaswamy. This dude is the best we got right now in politics. You know,
Vivek Ramaswamy is the best we have in politics? You've got to be kidding. Let me remind you what politics is. It is nothing more, nothing less. And you tell me if you think that I'm wrong. And if you think I'm wrong, please give me some constructive criticism so I can change my ways. But politics is now, has always been, and will forever be the clever and deceptive art. It's an art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the change of their own enslavement and dehumanizing and demoralizing themselves to throw away their name, throw away their reputation, and stand in the corner of a psychopathic political parasite who's going to help destroy America. Help bankers destroy America as a puppet dangling on the string. And a lot of people say, well, then what's your solution, Brian? I'll tell you what the solution isn't. The solution isn't to keep doing the same things over and over, expecting a different result, because when you continue to travel the course that we're traveling, then we have national debt. We have a beefed up military industrial complex, a prison industrial complex, a war on drugs, wars abroad, civil asset forfeiture, foreign aid, and all the other things that go along, and they happen with your vote. What's wrong with this world? What's wrong with this world is people don't stand for what is right. You can't stand for what is right and at the same time be the best person in politics. Unless you're standing against politics, both branches. They're both, even Tim Pool will tell you, and I've heard him say that the RNC and the DNC are corporately owned. It's not a two-party system. I've even heard him say it's a uniparty system, and yet he promotes the very party he says is a part of the uniparty system, which is a part of the problem.
Love to have seen a Vivek VP, but I think JD Vance is a good choice. Let me play this video for you, and we'll break it down, and we'll react and talk about it.
The tool of Peter Thiel is a good choice, says Tim Pool. He's a tool and a puppet of Peter Thiel. If you don't know who Peter Thiel is or the influence that he has, look up Peter Thiel, JD Vance.
About it.
Do you feel proud of yourself for debating college kids who are unprepared to speak in front of an audience like yourself? Hold on. You're 30 years old. We can agree you're 30 years old, right? Do you think that's a little bit silly?
Are you a voter?
I am a voter. I'm a
so
registered
I
voter.
vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's what I'm doing here today. Yeah? Wait, hold on. How is it any different than a professor talking to you?
Then a professor talking to you? Who are you?
Well, important enough for you to come up to a microphone.
I'll say this right now. Already,
Stop stuffing sopping wet bags of ice.
Sorry, guys. I don't have ad blocker on my Google yet.
her opening premise is nonsensical. And then she says, "Who are you?" Because she's run out of things to say. She's brave, but she doesn't know what she's doing. And so respect for the bravery. Now, I'd push back. I'd probably take a little bit more of a Vivek approach on this one. Although I don't think I'd ever be as good as Vivek at this. He's Vivek, dude. You are a master at this stuff. Let
me give something to you, Vivek. Okay. He is truly an intelligent individual. He is articulate. He's calm when he's explaining things, but he gave away his morality and doesn't stand on principle at all. And it was given away a long time ago. I don't respect anybody that does that. Vivek could win an argument, but not everybody who wins an argument is in the right.
If I'm talking to this young woman and she says, don't you think it's a little silly to come and talk to college students? You're 30 years old. I'm 38. I just say, well, I think college students are exactly who we need to be talking to. You guys are going to be inheriting industry in the next several years. We want to make sure that you understand and are ready to do that. In fact, I think it's probably, I'd be honest, it's much less important for me as a 38-year-old to go and talk to other 38-year-olds or people who are older who already have had these experiences. You guys are stepping up to the plate right now, and we need you more than ever. So we're going to do our best to make sure you are the best versions of yourself you can be. Older generations impart knowledge to the younger generations. Next question. Let's play more.
We're going to ensure that you're the best versions of yourself you could be by propagating the same things in politics that they've been propagating for the last 100 years. We need you to get involved in this political dog and pony show. We need you to demean yourself and vote for people you know are liars. I'm going to come up with an argument, one or two arguments that this woman could have said that would have just stopped them cold in their tracks. And it has to do with comparing or maybe contrasting the complementary stance that both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have to compare Donald Trump's track record with Joe Biden's track record and how essentially on the fundamental things, they are no different. And then watch them struggle and wallow in their own hypocrisy.
Actually, when I first saw this ad, I thought it.
Yes, we are live. This is a live stream. Thanks for being here. I did not expect, I didn't even expect 10 people to show up. There's 149 here on YouTube. Total count with Facebook and X and YouTube is 450. So I appreciate you guys being here. What's up, John Eagle, Swamp Lovers here. The Nut House is in the house. Jeffrey, Dees, Iron Eddie. Maybe put in the chat room where you guys are from. We are live from the Green Country in Oklahoma.
It was like an improv comedy thing. It looked so ridiculous that I didn't even think it was real.
Okay.
Well, no, you could see. Look how popular Trump is on your campus. How does that make you feel?
You see, I feel like Charlie's a little antagonistic. I didn't just respond. It would be what you said has no bearing on anything. My response to that is,
I agree.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming. You can clearly see it's not. Maybe we'll do better on our posters next time. But did you have a question?
That's not comedy. That is a 5-alarm fire for Kamala Harris because she's probably going to lose.
Bravo, Charlie.
But no, I just want to be clear. Is there something wrong with talking to voters?
No, there's nothing wrong with talking.
Well, that's
to
what we're
voters.
doing here today. It's an open
I
mic.
think that you push a dangerous agenda.
Such as?
Excellent, Charlie. Excellent.
Your stance on abortion rights, for example.
Here we go.
Which is?
Okay, so
You know what my position on abortion is? It is none of the government's business. We don't need to be subsidizing it. We don't need to be paying attention to it. And we don't need to be writing legislation about it, period. It's not the government's business. They're only supposed to be there to secure life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and property. That's it. That's it. They're not supposed to be involved in anything else. Life, your unalienable rights are supposed to be protected. That's what they're supposed to be, according to the Declaration of Independence, instituted for.
so
let me ask a question. What is your name?
Gene.
Gene, and what is your understanding of the current Republican Party's stance on federal intervention in abortion?
That's a good question.
Vivek.
Well, I
That's a
know
good
that they
question.
want to bring it back to the states, right?
So it sounds like you do know that the Republican Party's current stance on abortion is they're against a federal ban on abortion.
I do
And we're
understand
talking about
that,
a
yes.
presidential election as the
Yes.
important election that we're talking about here.
I understand that, yes.
Great. So again, I think this open dialogue is great. I think it's great you're here challenging Charlie, and I think it's great that he's willing to travel campuses across this country to talk to the next generation. We need more conversation. Now, where's the disagreement, though, on content? Because you could criticize style or why you're talking to people
Listen,
or dunk on someone personally, but where do you actually disagree
I agree
substance?
with the way that you edit content and specifically frame it so that people look bad talking to you.
She agrees with that?
The way that you edit your content.
we post unedited content.
Let me just ask you one thing though, because you could personal.
The video's
thoughts
unedited,
can
by the
fly in all directions. Where is an area where you have a disagreement with the conservative movement, with Donald Trump, with Charlie Kirk, perhaps with myself? I was a presidential candidate last year. I think we need to talk about that more in the open. And the more we do, the stronger our country is going to be. We got a long line of people, but I want to hear from you one substantive area where you have an authentic disagreement, and I'd be glad to address it. I'm sure Charlie would too.
Just in anything, any political.
Relating to any political topic where you have a disagreement. Let's air it.
Okay.
I have to tell you, I do like how Vivek Ramaswamy is going at this interaction right here. Sounds like he's being respectful. It sounds like he's engaged and he's interested in the conversation and he's interested in what this girl has to say, but he's also holding her responsible for making the assertions that she's making. He's making an effort to find out what she understands about the issues that she's talking about, that she seems to be passionate about, or maybe not passionate about. And she's putting it back on her plate. So she's got to get out the fork and she's got to get out the knife and she's got to dissect this thing. That's a really, really good way to have a conversation, especially if you're genuinely interested in what this person is saying and genuinely interested in trying to get to the bottom of a solution for this country instead of pushing a narrative, which we know that's what Vivek Ramaswamy is doing. He's pushing the Republican platform narrative, period.
I
Put a thumbs up if you like so far the way Vivek Ramaswamy is coming at this conversation.
disagree with some of the laws that are being pushed in Congress that are against the LGBTQ community
Which ones?
and the trans community.
Okay, so
Which
let's
bill?
talk about that. I'm going to give you my view, and then I want to hear yours.
Okay.
My view is that if you're a fully grown adult, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want, dress how you want, marry who you want if you want, if you're
Okay.
over the age of 18.
I agree.
But you are not free to indoctrinate children in schools who are not yet of the age of consent. You are not free, just as you're a 7.
Now, I agree with that, but what is public school? What have you done, parents, when you're sending your kid off to school? Who was it? Was it Malcolm X who said, "It is the fool who lets his enemy teach his children"? Do you think the government is your friend? If the government is not your friend, why are you sending your children to a government indoctrination camp, which is what public school is? So in a sense, it's kind of ridiculous to tell the government run school what they can or can't do. It's kind of ridiculous for you to say, I don't trust government, I think they're my enemy, and to send your kid off to be indoctrinated in those camps. Now, even in the midst of that, do you think that I think it's a good idea to go beyond reading, writing, and arithmetic and teaching your children and interjecting in their minds, hey, you could be a girl, you could be a boy, and if you're feeling like that, maybe you're and injecting that? No, that is absolutely not right. Because if there's one thing we know about children, they are wet cement, and there's only a small period of time where you can make an imprint on their lives. And if you make an imprint on them early enough, which is what indoctrination is, which is what propaganda is, which is what all this gender stuff is, when you give them that idea, they take that with them throughout the course of their lives. And if you look at their own literature, people who start questioning these realities, and that's what they are, the reality of there only being how many genders? You fill in the blank. You tell me. But when they start questioning reality, they start letting go of reality. When they start letting go of reality, the self-offing rates go through the freaking roof. And that's just an indicator of the bad stuff and the bad seeds they implant in the minds of these young kids in public school system, which I call the public fool system. If you disagree, let me know.
17-year-old or a 15-year-old can't get a tattoo on their own. I don't think that you should be able to go.
That still seems.
Arg. Sorry about these. We'll get through this. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Oh, come on. We're at the 6:10 mark.
Censorship.
Until the age of 18.
So I'm going to pause there and just, I disagree a little bit with Vivek. I actually think you should be allowed to indoctrinate in schools. It just depends on the indoctrination. I have a moral tolerance for some ideas and not others. I think everybody does. Many Christian conservatives tolerate morally or more like, I mean, tolerate in a flat logical sense, but I should say this, want and promote biblical values. Many Christian conservatives want public schools to teach biblical values. They support those moral frameworks. I agree with most of the moral frameworks as well. My view is if a school has the 10 commandments in it, I am not a Christian. I don't care. The 10 commandments, I believe, are very good. Thou shalt not murder. Honor thy father and thy mother. Those things are all fine. In fact, we even had a discussion about, no false idols and things like this. And I'm like, I think those are all fine. None of them tell a person to self-harm, nor are they direct demands to be a Christian. If there were 10 commandments in schools, the net negative is nothing, literally nothing. It's only net positive. You might not like Christianity, fine, whatever, but they're still positive messages. The indoctrination towards the gender ideology promotes self-harm. That's bad. I do not tolerate that. I think there is some indoctrination. It's just about what moral framework is a positive, beneficial to life indoctrination.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with what he's saying. It does promote self-harm, but there's a step before that. It's the indoctrination of a young person to let go of reality, to let go of objectivity, to move over into fantasy. And then when they move over into this fantasy, we're like, I know I was assigned this at birth, but I kind of feel like this. And the only reason you feel like that is because your teachers incessantly pounded it into you. And then because the other kids have that incessantly pounded into them, then they start talking among themselves. It's like, you know what? I do kind of feel a little feminine. And so it's this moving away from reality. And that is what the state specializes in, getting especially young people, but really all people, to move away from reality and to get them to believe that there's something called authority. And you need to submit to the authority. Those who submit to the authorities are good boys and girls. Those who don't submit and don't comply with the authorities are bad boys and girls. And then they lie to you about things that are historical. And then they've got this, they've got new math and what is that? The core curriculum has changed to where, we can't offend them by giving them an F on their term paper, so everybody gets a B. It's kind of like a socialist style schooling that doesn't benefit anybody. It edges out the competition. It starts complimenting and rewarding conformity, which is what they want. and this belief in authority. So in a sense, I agree with what Tim's saying, but I think it goes even deeper than that. And you have to go deeper than that, because once you do and you lay the foundation, then you can expose all this left versus right nonsense that Tim is currently involved in promoting, just as is Vivek Ramaswamy and Charlie Kirk. If anybody, by the way, if anybody disagrees with what I'm saying here, we are on a live stream, so put a 2 in the room. A 2 is disagree. I totally disagree with what you said. Put a 1 in the room if you do agree, because we can do a separate live stream and we can just talk about it and have people come up on a panel and we can sort this thing out. Why? Because none of us is greater than all of us.
But we'll continue.
And so the lines that I draw here is that men are free to claim to be women and swim in swimming pools. You're not free to claim trophies in a women's sports competition. You're not free to enter a women's locker room. You're not free to change a language, and you're not free to actually indoctrinate our children who are under the age of 5 in schools.
And that right there should be common sense. Common sense from a common recognition of what truly is, of what reality is, not what we want it to be.
Do we agree on the fact that adults should be able to live freely while still treating children differently? If so, we're on the same side of this issue.
Listen, I agree with the majority of what you said. However, I don't think that you're understanding the implications of the laws that are trying to be passed.
I absolutely find it absurd that this 20-something-year-old woman thinks that presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy doesn't understand the policies that he advocated for and spent tens of millions of dollars on. This is another issue of arrogance and narcissism. We need to teach pragmatism and stoicism and things like this. Young woman, it's okay not to know. And that's why the presentation should always be, can you explain to me your view of the full ramifications of these bills that are being proposed? Because I can argue the net negatives from insert bill will outweigh the moral positives you think you're going to obtain, but it's got to be done in a logically consistent manner. She's not doing that because she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Look, we got a head start.
Wait a second. Let's listen to that last thing again.
Because I can argue the net negatives from insert bill will outweigh the moral positives you think you're going to obtain, but it's got to be done in a logically consistent manner.
The net negatives of said bill will outweigh the moral positives. Well, if you're talking about a bill through Congress that becomes a law, from the very beginning, it violated principles of morality. Why do I say that? Because when you're talking about Washington's District of Criminals, and when you're talking about the creation of a bill which becomes a law, you're talking about the way for you to bring that law into being, and the people who brought it into being had to be paid through something called taxation, which is also extortion, because it exists through law. It would not exist in the free market. In the free market, there is no coercion, there's no intervention, there's no force, there's no violence, there's no elimination of competition, but that's exactly what government is. So it doesn't even matter if what the bill said was absolutely right. We are going to protect people from getting murdered. That's a good thing. But how are you going to do it? Oh, we're going to steal from a whole bunch of people at the point of a gun to make sure that all these other people are protected. So no matter what you're talking about, you have to go back to the very beginning of how does this thing that we're talking about even exist in the first place? Is it organic, or is it forced and manipulated and coerced into existence?
She's not doing that because she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Look, we got a head start in the conversation. We got a long line behind you, but my only ask is, forget the personal attacks or the stylistic attacks. Focus on substance. The more we debate that, the stronger we're going to be as a country.
I agree.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
I agree.
I don't think you're focusing on substance, though. That's the issue.
Hold on. Look, he intentionally tried to provoke substance out of you. And you said, well, I'm worried about some laws Congress should pass. I have to ask, what laws are you talking about? Can you be specific?
I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. But
I want to pause real quick, too. She's nervous. I respect her for speaking. She should listen more. But a lot of people are attacking her because of a nip slip. And that is BS. Come on, guys.
This is what you do. This is what you do. You take people and you put them under the spotlight and you.
Well, hold on. I didn't ask you to come up here. You voluntarily.
Oh, that's right. There are videos out here that say that this girl intentionally, showed herself to get Charlie Kirk demonetized from YouTube or something like that. Yeah, that's crazy to me when somebody attacks somebody on an assertion of motive. How do you know somebody's motive? You can see actions. It could be a mistake. I didn't even actually notice it right here. Let's see.
I'm very nervous, but
I want to pause real quick too. She's nervous. I respect her for speaking. She should listen more. But a lot of people are attacking her because of a nip slip, and that is BS. Come on, guys.
this is what you do. This is what you do. You take people and you put them under the spotlight and you.
Well, hold on. I didn't ask you to come up here. You voluntarily came to the front of the line. You didn't have to do that.
You're purposely antagonizing people on campus, asking people to come up by spreading your weird agenda.
How?
Well, I want to pause there too. And look, I'll give some criticism on the right. It's called the You're Being Brainwashed tour. Me, I don't play that game. I would never do that. Maybe that's why you guys like watching my show, but more people like watching Charlie Kirk. He's got a bigger audience. TPUSA is way bigger. I think some people prefer that better. I'd love to do a college tour with IRL or some kind of show.
I don't have a problem. Oh, shoot. Here, let me. This guy's whacked. Stephen Miller pops up on the screen. Let me go through this right here. I don't have a problem with the tour called You're Being Brainwashed tour. And I don't even have a problem with clickbait as long as the clickbait has something to do with what you're talking about. Basically, we're all marketing ourselves, right? And if I have a message, I want you to hear that message. So I don't want to turn you off from looking at the message. I want to make it attractive so that you can hear my message. I've never held that against anybody. If you make create a provocative title or a provocative thumbnail to get me to click on it because you think there's a message, some kind of life-changing message you want me to hear. And when I watched the video, it did have something to do with that. Maybe you went a little overboard with the title, maybe a little bit overboard with the thumbnail, but I'm glad I watched it because I'm going to walk away with more knowledge than when I came to the video with. I've never had a problem with clickbait, and I don't have a problem with provocative titles and banners. Like when Steven Crowder goes on to college campuses and he says something bizarre and then says, change my mind. I don't know, fill in the blank. Everyone should own guns, change my mind, or, whatever some of his change my minds were that were provocative. I don't have a problem with that because that gets people to walk up and talk to you. And then you can open the conversation and you can plant some seeds of the importance of your message inside their brain. And at least, even if they walk away disagreeing, you've still planted that seed and you've exposed yourself to criticism because the person sitting down is probably going to disagree with you. And you can modify the thoughts on your journey so that you can be more sharpened. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens the countenance of his friend, right? So I don't have a problem with being provocative in titles and thumbnails and banners and all this stuff. What I do have a problem with is their message is inherently hypocritical and contradictory.
I wouldn't call it the You're Being Brainwashed tour. I'd call it something like, Steve.
Now, even stuff like that, no one. Now, it could be that Tim Pool and Charlie Kirk are controlled opposition. I know people have called me controlled opposition, but what exactly are they opposing and who exactly controls them? And if you make that assertion, how do you substantiate that? I can talk to you about Tim Pool and Charlie Kirk and Vivek Ramaswamy and Tim Walz and Kamala Harris and Donald Trump, and I can show you what they believe and show you how it's contradictory to what reality is. It's contradictory to the free market. It's interventionism. And I can show you how it's inherently hypocritical because the things that they say the other side is doing, they do. But how do I call them? And I can also say that Donald Trump works for the bankers and Kamala Harris works for the bankers because they set forth policies that benefit the bankers. So you can show that and you can substantiate that. But how do you substantiate the assertion and back the claim and support the claim that Tim Pool and Charlie Kirk are controlled opposition. They may be, but what's the proof?
Steven Crowder originally had real conversations. He changed it to Change My Mind. I think Change My Mind is way, way better. Or something like counterpoint, point and counterpoint debate, et cetera, et cetera.
What agenda is that? I'm confused, though.
I don't know who funds Charlie Kirk and Tim Pool. I don't know that. Who is it?
So Charlie, I'll say this. We'll end on this and we'll go to the next question. When I was 18, I'm not going to blame you for this, I also took for granted a lot of the stuff that the media force-fed me, because that's what you know at the age of 18. You say there are some vague laws making their way through Congress that are hostile to trans community.
Know how?
I don't think those laws actually exist, but I don't blame you if that's what the cable media is feeding you. But let's get to the specifics, and then we're able to actually have an open dialogue. That's one.
That was an interesting interaction, and the whole time Vivek was talking, she wasn't listening. So listen real quick what he said.
Because that's what you know at the age of 18. You say there are some vague laws making their way through Congress that are hostile to trans community.
Know how?
I don't think those laws actually exist, but I don't blame you if that's what the cable media is feeding you. But let's get to the specifics, and then we're able to actually have an open dialogue. And that's one of the things I've learned over the last 20 years.
I think that the issue is we're getting our media from different sources, both.
No, you are. Timcast pulls up the New York Times and CNN and Reuters and NPR. We fact check that against other sources. We pull up the Federalist. We pull up the Daily Wire. We use conservative sources with a conservative perspective. And the majority of the articles we source are coming from corporate press. Because even though we know the corporate press lies relatively often, a good portion of the basic news reporting is fine. The political agenda stuff is where it gets messy. There is Galman amnesia, don't get me wrong. But the reality is liberals only listen to MSNBC and CNN. And I'm being somewhat facetious. Overwhelmingly, that is their source, 95+%. Independents and conservatives watch everything. Young lady, I can tell you that Donald Trump never called neo-Nazis very fine people. That it's not a question of getting our media from different sources. That is a question of you being lied to and being wrong and Vivek being correct.
Well, it's also an issue of contextualizing that statement. There's very fine people on both sides. If you look at the statement that Trump said, he's not saying, and I can't even believe they're still using this. I just heard Kamala Harris say it the other day on the Oprah show. Tim Walz said it on one of his recent ads. They're constantly saying this about Donald Trump. Now, I don't trust Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a Zio international banking shill. We see that from his policies. We see that in the devaluation of his dollar. We see that in take the guns first, due process second. We see that in instituting red flag confiscation laws, just like Kamala Harris is doing. But you got to be honest about what the guy said and keep what he said in context. It really does amaze me that in the age of video and audio and the internet, where we can go back and see what the guy said in context, that these corporate media sources, who do sometimes tell the truth, like Tim was saying, continue to hold fast to this lie. It's pretty, it's startling, amazing, and I can't even believe people still tune into corporate media thinking that they're going to get some kind of diet of truth.
People are getting media from these skewed sources. The facts that you're presenting are not always correct.
And that's why we're here with no TV screens between us. So people who have policy-based substantive disagreements, we invite those. I think that's how we're going to get our country back. And as it relates to trans, which you brought up, 18 or above, you're free to live how you want. You're not free to force that onto somebody else, or especially kids. And if we agree on that, we make some progress. Thank you.
Disagreements, yeah.
I thought that was fantastic, and it's a great display of Vivek is really a master at this.
Okay, so let me tell you what I think would have been great. Play the video labeled Charlie Kirk calmly explain why Israel. Let's see if we got time for this. Oh, can I? Why can't I? Let me see if I can. Let me tell you what I would say if I was. Let me just open a window. Oh, shoot. What just happened? Charlie Kirk. Let me copy that. Oh gosh, it's 12 minutes. Let me just tell you what would have been great to hear this girl right here say. All she would have had to say was, I am against your party's platform because your guy took 4 years and racked up 8.3 trillion. I'm talking about Donald Trump. Racked up $8.3 trillion worth of national debt, which is transgenerational debt slavery, which means every dollar that I go to work to make is devalued because of the actions of your president. Same thing with Joe Biden. Kamala Harris is going to do the same thing. Bush did the same thing. Obama did the same thing. Why do you constantly promote psychopathic political parasitic puppets who devalue the product of my time and laboring energies? And then just let it sit. Let it sit. Let's see them. What do you think they would say if this woman walked up to the mic and said, I can't stomach any of you guys. I can't stomach Fake Stream, CIA infiltrated Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra Media, because they were infiltrated by the media, by the CIA back in the 1950s and 60s. And it came out in 1975 with the Church Committee that they were absolutely infested by stories that were approved by the CIA. I can't trust the Republican Party because they'll put somebody in office who's going to devalue my dollar and promote some level of gun confiscation law like red flag laws. I can't support the Democrats because they're going to do the exact same thing. Tell me why I should vote for you. Tell me how this time is going to be different. Tell me how this is the most important election of my lifetime and how you guys are going to set policies that are going to constrain the money printing habits of the Zio International Banking Cartel. What are you guys going to do to install and institute a sound money system to keep those criminals from doing that crap in Washington's District of Criminals? And then just step away from the mic and watch them struggle. Watch them struggle like a fawn in the forest trying to get its feet while the tiger is approaching. What are you going to do about that? Because that is the glue that binds Donald Trump to Kamala Harris, and it cannot be minimized. If you've got somebody who owns the issuance and value of these right here, you've got the total controller. There's nobody higher on this planet than the people that control the issuance and value of an entire nation's currency. And then this is the world reserve currency. That means other people have to turn their fiat currency banking notes into this to stimulate an artificial demand. And that's the only reason this has any perceived worth at all. Until you start talking about the economic bedrock that underpins the political dog and pony show, you're not talking about anything. Stop talking about trans rights or gay rights or abortion. Stop talking about we're going to limit price gouging. Stop talking about that. So that's all interventionist policies that shouldn't even exist to begin with. Let's talk about the substantive issues. What actually gives fuel to the fire of the political dog and pony show under this big circus, big top in the three-ring circus you're trying to get me to buy onto? Why are you, and then turn around to the crowd and go, why are you wearing Make America Great hats when he made Israel great? Does anybody know how many billions the American tax cattle are on the hook for every single year just in foreign aid to Israel? Does anybody know the percentage increase for the military industrial complex under Trump and then under Biden and then under Obama and Bush before him and Clinton before him? Why should I spend my time and laboring energies voting for your guy who's going to make my life worse? And why are you promising things you can't deliver on? Why did Trump basically get out the fire extinguisher of tyranny and extinguish free speech rights on American campuses if we dare to criticize Israel double hockey sticks? I'm writing Brian in on the ballot. Guys, I appreciate you guys being here, but this is so elementary, it drives me crazy, and I do feel like I'm just a broken record. But until we get past square one, we can't move to square 10 or even square 2 for that matter. So let's listen to the rest of what Tim Pool says here, because if it's not in line with exposing the hypocrisy and inconsistency of both parties, we can't get anywhere. Yeah, Tim Pool's going to make a lot of money fomenting this division. Yeah, Midas Touch and Brian Tyler Cohen and MSNBC, they're going to make a whole lot of money fomenting division on the left side. So while you have pockets full of money and Lamborghinis in the garage and big mansions to live in, and you're sipping your cognac and you're smoking your Black Dragon cigars, tyranny looms. Total 100% tyranny. A financial crisis and collapse is coming because of what the government has done. Hyperinflation is right around the corner. It's going to happen. Weimar Germany didn't escape from it. Zimbabwe didn't escape from it. And America's not going to. And neither did the other 600 currencies that all went down into the toilet. The only reason this has lasted for so long is because they used it as the world's reserve currency by ripping off things in the Middle East and stealing resources that weren't there and beefing up their military to where we got the biggest stick on the playground and nobody can say anything to us because we're the biggest bully and we can't be questioned. But if you do question it, like if you want to set up a gold-based dinar, an honest money system in your country, Libya, Gaddafi, well, you're not going to live very much longer. Or if you want to exchange oil for euros instead of the dollar, Saddam, no, that ain't going to happen. You're dead too. That's what happens to nations who don't submit to the central banking cartel. But if Tim talks about this, he doesn't implement it and practice it in his life because he's promoting the crazy show under the big top. Here, choose my clown. This clown's better than that clown. Let me show you what I posted recently on my X page. And I love memes that are just freaking true, like this one right here. Look at this. Liar, thief, fraud. Oh, we're united on this issue right here. Or how about this? By the way, if you haven't subscribed to me or follow me on Twitter, here, let me just give you here's the link. That's my Twitter link. X link, whatever you want to call it. Strangely, every 4 years, the sheep fight among themselves over who will eat them and their offspring for lunch. That's what it amounts to. Who's going to steal my money? Who's going to invade my estate? Who's going to attack my children? Who's going to devalue my dollar? I mean, maybe you don't think your time and labor is worth anything, but I think it is. So let's listen to the rest of what Tim says. Just a couple minutes here. Are we okay? Is everybody okay? If you want me to keep on going, put one in the room. There's 640, 205 people on. So total, there's like 646. So if you put a one in the room, if I get like 51s, I'll keep going. Trump voters are going to wear their I voted sticker. Yeah, I voted for the chains of my own oppression sticker. Work for Liberty says one. Hey, what's up, Dana Judd? Haven't seen you in a while. Pesky's here. Camaro, Fally, Eric Farmer. What you talking about, Willis? Darkado. The billionaires that were not in favor of central bank in 1912 and all died on the Olympic. They died on the Olympic. I would just leave if I didn't want to be here, says Work for Liberty. Thanks, man. Appreciate you being here. John, Michael, Aaron Health, how you doing? Censored One. Resource-based economy and monetary system. Burning Tube says our economy could be self-healing, but we are so far gone now. We are far gone. And who knows, without government intervention, we may not even need an internal combustion engine, guys. And if we did have one, it might run on hydrogen if they weren't killing off all those people who made these fantastic inventions that had nothing to do with government intervention. What's up, John Franks? Need something good to watch while I work out. Is it leg day? Way far gone. All right, here we go.
Look, I'll wind
We're almost done.
wind this down by saying this. I get it. If you go out and say liberals are demons, the liberals are demons tour. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm saying literally. If you came out and said, like Democrats are destroying the nation tour, you're being brainwashed tour, it is antagonistic. I don't completely disagree with her. Now, Charlie's not being antagonistic when you arrive. That's your choice. You could certainly just say, I have a question. I've seen X, Y, and Z. I'm curious what you think about how that's going to manifest, because I personally feel otherwise. I want to hear your answer so I can provide my perspective. Charlie's going to say, here's what we want to do. Here's why we want to do it.
Yeah, for those who don't know, there were three identical ships made for the White Star Line. It was the Olympic, the Britannic, and the Titanic.
Going to be nice to you. He's going to let you ask your question, and then you can respond with, okay, so I read X, Y, and Z. What's your response to that? He's going to respond, and that's it.
Here's a video of a woman using the Wi-Fi detector.
Arg.
That's why, it's funny because you watch a lot of these videos with young people at colleges, and typically it's just conservatives being smart and college students being antagonistic. The college student comes up and just says, you're ugly, you're stupid, you have a weird agenda, blah, blah, blah. And then you get the conservative saying, well, actually, blah, blah, blah. Here's why you're wrong, this, that, and otherwise.
Yeah, there are a lot of ad hominems that are cast on college campuses. I've noticed that. I watched a lot of those Steven Crowder. What is it? I just said it. I can't remember. I've watched a lot of those interactions, and a lot of times they just resort to name calling. But there was one particular time, I wish I could remember the young guy's name who came up, but he challenged Steven Crowder, totally backed Steven Crowder in a corner, played chess with him, checkmated him, and it was fantastic because the guy didn't get elevated. He wasn't getting aggressive. As far as I remember, he didn't resort to ad hominems. Yeah, the Change My Mind tour. It was pretty good. I'll try to find that. I did a video on that. It's probably something worth re-uploading. It never got a lot of views, but I think it should, because it shows you that Steven Crowder has an inherently hypocritical and inconsistent platform when he's pointing his finger at the other side when he could just as rightly point the finger at his side, but he's not willing to get out of it because that's his bread and butter.
It's a forum by which conservatives can articulate their thoughts, but then also strike down individuals who don't have the capability to levy a proper response or debate. Now, you may say, that's not fair, Tim. You're saying that conservatives just want to debate college kids?
Yeah, Jonathan, I might cover that in another video. It's beyond the purview of this. I just wanted to talk about this right here. I will watch that video, and if it's something that proves that he's control opposition, I'll definitely do it. One thing I will say about
Radical left Democrat.
It's a Trump ad. One thing I will say about TPUSA, they're definitely partial to ISRA HE double hockey sticks. Absolutely. I don't think he can fully control what he says. I don't know. Plus, when you get on here and you're behind a microphone and a camera every single day, you're going to say things that are wrong. People are going to take your stuff and they're going to splice it together and make it look like you said something you didn't really say. It can be very messy.
Saying the liberals don't debate. You got a couple, Destiny wants to debate everybody. That's fine. He's a smart dude. I think he lies a lot. Sam Cedar wants to debate everybody, but he's kind of like WWE. He just wants political drama. The dude's obsessed with me. First it was Dave Rubin. Now it's me. I mean, go talk about Dave Rubin, guy. I don't know. Talk about stuff that matters.
WWE political drama is all it is. It's all it can be. Even Tim Pool, see, this is what gets under my skin. Even somebody like Tim Pool will at times call it the uniparty, but then he'll continue to back his party that's in the uniparty. They are corporately funded. When you've got the DNC and you've got the RNC, you've got corporate funding, corporate backers, corporate donors. In some sense, and I know don't crucify me for this. Just let me get the entire thing out. Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks are right. We got to remove corporate funding from politics. Guys, if you remove corporate funding from politics, you cease to have politics, because politics runs on corporate funding. It is the heart. It is the bloodstream. It is the muscle tissue. It's the skeletal tissue. It's the entire thing, corporate funding. Because the backers are the people who control the issuance and value of the currency. It's not even about when you're talking about when Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks rightly talk about removing corporate funding from politics and removing the incentivization for prestige and power and profit for congressmen and senators. I totally agree, but you can't remove that when AIPAC controls Congress. And if AIPAC is controlled by Isra HE double hockey sticks, and they're controlled by the Central International Banking Cartel, and they're in control of the issuance and value of your currency, you're talking about total control of everything, no matter who writes the laws. And I can't remember what dictator said it, but it was like, it doesn't matter who the people vote for. Every vote is a vote for us. Go to puppet A, B, C, D. I don't care. Stack the entire stage. We own them all. Pick a card, any card. I own all the cards. I own the entire deck. I own the craps table, and I own the casino and the land it's sitting on. And because you're in my casino, I own you. That's until you get to that, until you pull that curtain over and identify that Wizard of Oz guy pulling the levers and pushing the buttons of power, you're not getting anywhere. You're only talking about the smoke that's being dispelled into the air to make the show look more interesting, and not talking about the guy who's operating the mechanism that's creating the smoke screen.
But he doesn't, because he's WWE. He wants politics. Many of these guys do. So don't get me wrong, they exist, but it's few and far between. I could go on.
That is freaking hypocritical, because Tim Pool, he's like a main promoter of the WWE Dog and Pony Show lie. He's the one who draws the line and inserts the wedge of division between the left and the right, the conservatives and the liberals. He just did it in this. Can they, okay, what do you guys think? Can they really not see their hypocrisy, or can they see it, but they're so handsomely paid? Like, what was that thing that just came out where the, tenant, was funded by Russia, and Russia was given, $100,000, $150,000, $450,000 a week to some of these content creators. One of them being, they said, was Tim Pool. I don't know if it's true or not.
Outside and throw a rock, and I'm going to hit a conservative begging for a debate. I go outside, I'll throw a frisbee in the air, I'll close my eyes, and then I'm going to hear 5 voices yell, I got it. It's conservatives who want to come on the show. We send out 24 messages to liberals being like, please come on the show. And they're like, yeah, nah, I ain't doing that. Why? It doesn't matter if they're a college student or otherwise. They can't stand up to scrutiny. But you know what?
They can't stand up to scrutiny. What the frick? And then it makes me wonder, how did somebody like this get so popular? Oh, he's popular because he's got a message that's easy to digest. And why is the message of Tim Pool and Steven Crowder and the Hodge twins and Midas Touch Network and Brian Tyler Cohen and MSNBC and Fox News, why is it so easy for the masses to digest? Because they've been propagandized all their life that there's such a thing called authority, that there's somebody who has a higher claim over your life and property than you, and you need to be submissive to them. And if you're not submissive to them, you're not a good boy or a girl. You're bad and you need to be punished. That's what all this is predicated on. That's what all this hinges on. The fulcrum that keeps all this stuff in balance as he plays the hypocrite, calling somebody else Sam Cedar, part of the Dog and Pony Show. And I agree, Sam Cedar is, but so is Tim Pool, for the same exact reasons that Tim Pool is accusing Sam Cedar.
Here's my thoughts.
Wow.
The culture war show.
I've never gotten a call from Tim Pool. I've never gotten a call. I see Malcolm Flex on there. I think Dave Smith's been on there. I see Brandon Tatum on there.
Oh, I actually think Friday's show was one of the better shows. It was very engaging. Jason Fick talking about Section 230 and these laws. Very good. The Culture War show, we are routinely trying to set up debates on issues. but these prominent liberals won't do it. Every conservative wants to come on, liberals won't. There's a small handful of conservatives who will do it all the time.
Now, I bet Brian Tyler Cohen would come on. He doesn't have a problem going on Piers Morgan. He doesn't have a problem going on MSNBC. He doesn't have a problem going on Fox News. He doesn't have a problem talking to Tommy Lahren. Now, I'm not for Brian Tyler Cohen, and he's wrapped up just as much in this left versus right paradigm lie. If you don't know who I'm talking about, check this out. Let's see. Let me show you. Look at this. Brian Tyler Cohen. Yeah, this guy. He's got 3 point. Look at this guy pulling in 5 million views a day, 128 million views in the last 30 days, 153 million video views last week or last month. The lowest he has on this right here is 7 million views in a month and gone as high as 153. That's just phenomenal numbers. Look, he increased by 180,000 subscribers last week. And I think he would probably go on Tim Pool's show and he would probably debate Tim Pool under the table, but that doesn't mean he wins on the side of being right. That just means he's a better debater with better talking points and he's pretty polished about it. So I would like to actually see that because that would be incredible. That would be a fascinating psychological operation to me to get Tim Pool and Brian Tyler Cohen debating on something. It would be phenomenal. But I don't see Tim Pool saying, "Hey, we've thrown the frisbee out there, and we got to see a lot of people say, I got it," but it's mostly conservatives. We don't have liberals coming on. What about free thinkers? I've never seen him have. Let's see who. I've never seen him have Tom DiLorenzo on there from Mises. I've never seen him have Tom Woods on there. I've never seen him have Lou Rockwell on there. And those guys are pretty even keel as far as from the Mises Institute. Like they'll have a debate with you, but they're going to tell you, hey, you're just promoting this left versus right paradigm garbage. Interesting who they won't have on. We'll just finish this.
Seems boring. I think maybe we just go up to WVU or something. Let's just bring culture war to the college campus, which is 20 minutes away. And we'll set up the show there outside and we'll have debates with people who want to have the debates. And we could I bet we could hit up WVU and be like, hey, we want to do this routine show. They'd probably be super excited for it. It's extremely woke, extremely liberal, but it's also in West Virginia. So let's bring the debate. I think that'll be fun. I think it'll be real fun. We'll aim for that with Culture War. We'll see what happens. But for everybody else, I'm going to wrap up here.
All right. So that's it. So I just wanted to bring you that. So we've got the Tim Walz Harris campaign trying to foment and propagate this propaganda of reliability or the plain folk technique, where it tries to get you to identify with a political parasite who has no interest in making your life better. We've got Vivek Ramaswamy and Charlie Kirk propagating the left versus right paradigm lie. And we have the same thing coming out of Tim Pool. So if you enjoy these videos, take a second right now and hit the thumbs up. I don't know how many thumbs up we got over on YouTube. Got a Kamala Harris ad. So 175 thumbs up. I really appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up. Share this video with everybody you know if you feel like the knowledge is worth people taking a look at and watching. And become a channel member. Well, actually, I don't have channel membership set up on this right here, but definitely follow me over there on Twitter under High Impact Flicks. I'm also at High Impact Flicks on Facebook. Let me go to that right now. So here's High Impact Flicks right here on. Oh, look, it says I'm live. That's weird. I've never even seen that. Oh, check that out. Oh, it says 454. I didn't even know that could appear while I was live. And we've got, it says I'm live here on Here's the Deal / High Impact Flicks on Facebook. Just look it up under that and you should be able to find it. I really appreciate you guys Can you guys hear me? I don't know what just happened. It didn't freeze on YouTube, but it froze on StreamYard. So let's see. Am I even still live? Let me check it. That's weird. This Kamala ad came up and then everything went haywire. 5x5? Let me see. How is that muted? Unmute. Wow, that's weird. That's weird. Hey, what's up, Leroy Truth? Work for Liberties here. Alphys, Pesky, Censored One, Aaron Health, Work for Liberty. Yeah, that's weird. I'm glad I didn't start picking my nose or something after I actually ended the stream. In StreamYard, you got to say end stream, and then it says end stream, ? And then you end it. So I ended it, but then I found out that this thing is turning, so that's weird. You went away for a few minutes. Let's see, Rathgar. Hey, what's up, Rathgar Redbeard? I haven't seen you in a while either. Nathan's here. Matt Fox, Feminazi Slayer, which is a hilarious name. You went away for a minute. All right. What should we talk about next? I will look at this Charlie Kirk thing. It says, oh, wait, we don't have the presentation up. Let's go to the entire screen. Got it. All right. This says Charlie Kirk calmly explains why you know what should exist. I got to be careful saying that on my channel because the algorithms will pick it up and it's like, hey, what happened to your channel? Oh, it's gone. Oh, it's gone. Can you get a little schmutz in there? Of course you can. Of course you can get a little schmutz. I do really enjoy your content, even if we don't agree on Charlie Kirk comment I made. I'll send you some info on Twitter when I get a chance. All right, guys. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Take care.